Okay, so Jimmy, you've obviously announced your decision to retire at the end of the year. So, what made you think now was, or the end of this season was the right time for you?
If I'm honest, I made the decision quite a while ago. I spoke to Slava a lot towards the end of last season, and especially once we'd finished the season. And there was a stage, I think I remember sitting with him and saying, I'm 90% sure I'm stopping after last season. But obviously we spoke a lot, and it's not about him convincing me or anything like that. I explained I had a lot of factors to consider before committing to this season, because I didn't want to commit and only be 50%. I wanted it to be for all the right reasons, and what's best for my family, and the circumstances we're in and everything else. So I made the decision quite a while ago, so I've come to terms with it, and I'm happy with that decision. And obviously a huge season to look forward to, building on the success of last season, and I'm ready to give that a go for one final time. But many things factored into the decision, mainly family and my kids, and everything related to that. My role at work has changed at school, in terms of having a promotion and having to commit more time towards that. And obviously our expanding family means that I just can't see myself 100% being able to commit in the long term. And so I'm happy with everything I've achieved, and happy knowing that my commitment is now towards my family, and them growing up and succeeding.
Okay, so obviously part of what we're going to do when you retire is retire your number 17. So, how did you feel when you found out that was going to happen?
Yeah, really happy. Again, I don't think until it comes to the time I'll really perhaps know emotionally how I feel about that. But I know, just speaking to close family and friends and things like that, that I think it means a lot more to them, not than me, but it means a lot to them at this stage, knowing that the sacrifices people have had to make week in, week out, for me to be able to be in this position to play hockey for so long at a high level, and enjoy success. That I think it's not just about me. I think it's maybe about what the club represents, and about what my family have committed to that. And I think it's just as much perhaps as a reward for everybody else as it is being able to see my number and my name up there.
Okay, so just going back to the start of your career, like how did you get into ice hockey in the first place?
It's one of those things that I started so young that I don't remember. I couldn't consciously tell you what was my thought process or anything else's. But I know that obviously I started skating when I was young. I was 4 years old, and my parents came and watched the Pirates and were hockey fans. So I just kind of grew up at the rink and learned to skate quite quickly, and obviously was able to do that well, and just enjoyed it. I don't remember not skating, not playing hockey. I started in the team when I was 5-6 years old, and never looked back from that point. I've always loved it. It's always been my favourite sport, and it's what made me the athlete I guess I am today as such.
Okay, so then moving on, when you played under 16s in, I think it's 2000, 2001, what were you aiming for then? Was it senior hockey in Peterborough? Was it elite league? What were your aims?
I've always had two commitments. So I've always committed to my education and schooling, and from probably secondary school ages, wanted to be a PE teacher. But obviously within ice hockey, I've always wanted to commit and do as much as I possibly can. When I was young, I was always, same as a lot of youngsters, have that dream to go on and make it as far as you can in the sport. Playing in the NHL and all those sorts of things, and that's so it's a dream and a goal that people should have, but it's obviously an unrealistic one. But it's one that I've had to kind of tinker with a little bit, because I've always committed to my education and life beyond hockey at the same time. And I'm incredibly proud and happy with where I've gone with both careers. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. So I've always had those kind of dreams and ambitions to play at the highest level I possibly can, but I think deep inside, maybe subconsciously, always thought that there's a limit to that because of other things that are going on, and me and my wife have been together a very long time, and obviously we've got a family now, and I've got a lot of close family and friends, and brothers that play the sport as well. So there's lots of factors included in that. I was never in a position where I was going to go away abroad or anything like that, because everything I have and wanted to have was here. So I'm extremely proud at the level I've played, and to put at that age, it's difficult to define how your life is going to be. So I've taken. I have no regrets in terms of the decisions I've made and everything else that's panned out along the way, and thoroughly enjoyed my junior years at that time, and really pleased with where it's taken me.
Okay, so probably the next milestone really was your Phantoms debut. How did your debut go? And what was it like playing for your hometown team?
Obviously, growing up as a junior here in Peterborough, playing for your hometown team is a goal and an aim, and it's either a stepping stone to greater things, or it's something you want to do when you're older. And I've loved every minute of playing senior hockey here in Peterborough, and to have my debut, and to be part of the Phantoms team and squad and train, and have, Kevin King was the coach at the time, was a fantastic coach for us, and learned a lot from him at that time, as well as all my junior coaches. So to be given that chance to have my debut, was alongside Craig Peacock and James Archer. I think we went out as a line one game, just line of juniors. It was against Slough, and I think, we had a few shifts that game and did well. I think Craig scored actually. I think he scored on his debut perhaps. Apologies if I'm mistaken on that, but I'm sure that was the case. So I look back on that and always remember that moment. I'm extremely proud to put on the shirt and be a part of a team that was successful at the time and had a lot of, how would you say, legendary, players involved.
Okay, and again moving on through your sort of younger years in your hockey career, GB under-18s, 4 goals, 10 assists, gold medal. How was that experience?
Great, yeah, one of my best national team experiences. I first made England under 14s and progressed through under 16s, GB 18s, GB 20s it was at the time. So I've been fortunate to play, at the highest kind of international junior levels at those times that the England teams and GB teams were a part of. I have a bronze medal as well at Division 1 and that gold medal at Division 2. I think we were expected to win that year, but we had a really, really good tournament. And my stats were quite high, I guess, that tournament, but as a line I played with Craig Peacock at the time and Robert Dowd, and we formed a good partnership, and it's one that I always look back on fondly. Thoroughly enjoyed that tournament. It was in Lithuania, and so I've enjoyed all my international experiences, all the times away. I'm fortunate again to have been involved in so many great teams with great players, older than me, younger than me as well, and so they're sort of the memories that you take, and I'll always take with me from those sorts of trips and experiences outside of Peterborough and the United Kingdom.
Okay, so 05-06, Nottingham Panthers debut, went on to make 165 appearances I think in the Elite League. So how was that experience, obviously moving away from Peterborough possibly for the first time, and how did it compare really to being here and playing for your hometown team in obviously what is a league below, but how's that comparison?
It's a strange one. Like growing up, obviously following British hockey generally, Nottingham Panthers were always one of my favourite teams. I couldn't tell you why. It was perhaps when I was younger. They used to broadcast some of the games on the telly, and I remember watching and seeing Nottingham on there, and the Panthers were quite a cool team at the time. And it all came about. I went to university in Nottingham. That's where I studied, and it just fit at the right time. When I turned 18, I managed to get a place at that university. It was the same summer as Mike Ellis, who was the coach at the time, was kind of interested in signing me, but until obviously I'd sorted my education and different things like that, I couldn't commit as early on as I probably would have liked. I was in regular contact with David Clark at the time, who I've known and always been inspired by, and he was in touch to try and help and do as much as I possibly can, and he was a massive part of the reason that I went to Nottingham at that time. And was successful and thoroughly enjoyed my time in Nottingham. Learned a lot from 2 different coaches. Corey Nilsson took over in my 3rd season, played alongside him for the first 2, and obviously I learned a lot from Mike Ellis as well, and he really did give me a chance to play. We won the playoffs my 1st season there and the Challenge Cup in the 2nd under his coaching, and I have a lot of fond memories. A lot of fond memories of university and my time in Nottingham. Made a lot of great friends. Thoroughly enjoyed and feel proud to have played along the likes of Clarkey, but Matt Myers, Danny Myers, Mark Levers at the time as well. Great British players that have gone on to have great careers, and being able to learn from them and play alongside them and be a part of that atmosphere was tremendous, and it's something that I'll always look back on fondly, and I know it's a big part of my development coming back into Peterborough.
So you say about coming back into Peterborough, obviously 2009, 2010. Over 550 appearances since. So how easy was it to make the decision to come back, and has there ever been a time where you thought maybe I might go somewhere else, or was when you came back, was it always I'm staying in Peterborough now?
Obviously it was an easy decision to come back at the time. I finished university and there was other things going on, and this decision to come back was an easy one. It fit at the time. It was the year after the Phantoms won the treble, and they made some early season changes after that, and so it made sense that I came back at that time and was happy to do so. And it was at that point, I'd got my degree and needed to then kickstart what else I was going to go on and do outside of hockey. So it just fit at the time, and I was really pleased to be able to do that. And I think I had to find my feet again when I came back, but I came back a more rounded player. I'd learned to play defence along the way in Nottingham, and playing defence at a higher level obviously helped me out. I helped develop different aspects of my game. I've always been, as a younger player, much more offensive forward, but I was able to develop and round myself to develop the defensive aspect of my game as well. So I came back, I think, with more tools and skills than when I left, and was extremely pleased and proud to be able to come back in. And we went through 2 or 3 difficult years in terms of performances and success. On the back of that treble season, the club had a few things to iron out and different things, but I mean, I enjoyed my time and the players that I played with at those times, and I think I quickly found my feet, and I didn't really think about leaving. There was times where, especially earlier on when I came back to Peterborough, that other teams were speaking to me in the summer and asking what I was doing, and expressed an interest, and I spoke to a couple of coaches, because it's important to know your options. But I never really was committed to signing anywhere else or speaking to many other people. And I think the longer I stayed here, the less that's happened, because people have just known that I'm staying here, and I've always signed my contracts perhaps for 2 years or earlier on before the season has finishes. So there's never really the option to speak to anyone else. And for a considerable amount of years, I've not thought about it either. I'm happy here, and it's always worked and fitted for me, and I hope it has for the club too.
So looking back at your time at Phantoms as a whole, what are your favourite memories or moments that you could think of from when it started all the way through to now?
Lots of things. There are probably too many things. There's probably some things that people wouldn't want me to say or mention, but there are a tremendous amount of memories. There's things that are going to stick with me for the rest of my life that have helped develop the person I am, not just hockey player or anything else. The best thing really is being able to go out there and perform and commit and compete with your friends, and great players, great people. Not everybody along the way with you get on with, but everybody I've respected, and I've made a lot of great friends and people and experiences. And the work-life balance is something that a lot of players in our league have to deal with, and I know that hockey is that release to compete and be physical and to enjoy sport, but it's also that element of it's your social life at times as well, and the people that you go along that journey with are incredibly important. And it just shows the success we had last season, how great of people we've been able to bring to this club, and we have at this club. And I don't just mean players, I mean all the people associated with the team and hockey here in Peterborough. That it's a very much a family environment, and it's always been like that. And I think they're some of the biggest things that I'm going to take away after this season, all those memories and the friendships and the good times that we've had. Other proud moments for me are, obviously being able to play alongside both my brothers for a considerable amount of time. Robert more so than Luke, but obviously Luke's gone on to bigger and better things and has done well. And hopefully I helped a part of his journey early on as well when he was coming up through the Phantoms academy and as a senior team here, and being able to play so many games alongside Robert, who's had a great career himself, is been a privilege. So not many people get to do that, and I'm extremely fortunate that I'm in that situation and being able to share the good times with direct family members as well. And obviously the biggest other thing is winning, and the successes we've had, and even the years that we haven't won trophies, we've been competitive and successful, and I've loved the journey and the drive to try and help make this club as successful as it can be.
Okay, so that was memories and moments. Favourite 3 goals. If you had to name 3 goals, favourite 3 in your career, whether it be here in Peterborough or maybe one for Panthers or something like that, could you name 3? Your favourite 3?
Yeah, there's a few that stick in your mind. There's lots of my type of goals that I don't remember because I'm not the best goal scorer and I don't score the flashiest of goals sometimes. So trying to pick 3 that were memorable and stuck in my mind. I think I've chosen 3 that are probably quite obvious, but I think they're 3 that do stick in your head and you draw upon straight away. I was proud of some of the goals I scored in Nottingham, being able to score away in Belfast against Sheffield, the Steelers. In that rivalry were massive, and I thoroughly loved those. But I picked my first goal for the Phantoms as one of those. I think it was against Telford Tigers. It was kind of a half wraparound, a little bit fortunate probably how it ended up in. But I just remember at the time I knew the puck was there somewhere and didn't quite see it, and I was kind of alongside the goal so I could see it just cross over the line. So that kind of relief, I've scored and I've done it, and it was a massive thing for me. I think I've got the puck. One of the players gave me the puck after the game, and I've still got that somewhere. So that's one that sticks in my mind. The second one I thought of was when we won the playoffs in Coventry, so 4 or 5 seasons ago now. We'd won the game. I think we were a goal up, but I scored a goal with about a minute or so left that kind of put a seal on the victory. And at that point, I scored again. It was lucky. It was a similar sort of position, and I tried to put the puck across the goal, and I think it hit the goalie on the inside of the pad, went in. So again, not a flashy goal or anything that's spectacular in that sense, but it's one that I've always remembered because it was that moment for the first time as captain of Peterborough, realised we were going to win. We were going to win, the big trophy, the big one in Coventry, and I celebrated like I just won it. But yeah, it meant a lot to me. And it was that kind of we've done it sort of feeling, and that's why that goal sticks in my mind. And the third one was recent. I had a good season last year in front of goal, and played with some great players and really good line mates, and I think a really good team goal. But the goal that won our cup final against Basingstoke here, on a power play, Paddy, I remember it wasn't just Paddy, but Paddy made a great pass to me. I came from the opposite side of the ice towards the goal and had a lot of the goal open to me. I had a lot of work to do, I think, still there at that point, but managed to put it away. And again, the feeling at that point, putting us ahead in the cup final, and then obviously going on to win it from that was an amazing feeling. And I think there's photos and there's video clips and stuff that I've seen of that, which is why it means so much being able to be successful and help the team achieve. And I owe a lot to my teammates for that. It was definitely a power play move that we'd worked on and we developed through that shift, and it ended up with me putting it away, which I'm grateful for, but pleased that I could do that and help the team.
May 2018, your testimonial. How did you feel when you were told that was happening, and how did you feel the day went? I'm sure it was more of a day rather than just the game that we saw, but I'll let you tell us a bit about
that. Yeah, it was a little bit more than a day. It was a busy day, and a lot of planning and things went into that. The first thing I'd say about that is just a massive thank you for the club for allowing me to have that, and all the people that were involved directly in setting that up and helping me along the way, whether that was in the room and at the rink or the dressing room, in terms of all the shirt designs and equipment and everything else to do with your programs, your planning of the event and advertising, everybody that had a hand in that and came on that day, I'm extremely grateful to and thankful for. It was a big thing, and I did it a little bit unorthodox to be able to allow a lot of players to come down and try and do something a little bit different. There's been testimonials in the past here at Peterborough, and like the Legends Games and stuff like that that's happened, and we haven't had something like that for a few years. So I wanted to do something a little bit different that was exciting and would appeal to people, but also help celebrate British hockey. As I said and touched on in my experiences, you go through juniors and playing with people that help you develop along the way, and different coaches. Same as at the national setup, same as in Nottingham and in Peterborough. So I didn't want to just celebrate my time in Peterborough. I wanted to celebrate the things that have made hockey so good to me. And so that's why there was a variety of people from all over, different aspects of British hockey come along, ex-players and retired players that I'd looked up to when I was younger and helped coach me and develop me, as well as, friends and family and people that have supported me and I've played alongside. I'm extremely pleased and thankful for the players that came down, and a lot of it is a blur. Because you're playing and you're organising, and hockey players aren't always the easiest to organise, especially when they get down the room and there's a few beers on ice and stuff. So I look back on it with fond memories. I'm extremely grateful to be able to have that opportunity, and I loved every minute of it.
Okay, so one thing I thought that was interesting in the programme for your testimonial, there's a couple of players, one of which, Lloyd Gibson, said to play against he hated it, to play against you, but to be on your team it was brilliant. So why do you think players on other teams, it might be a difficult one to answer, maybe you don't know, but why do you think players on other teams seem to really hate coming up against you?
I, it's a difficult to answer, and firstly I'll just say Lloyd was a great teammate here, and I loved playing alongside him as well, and I think the feeling's mutual. When I used to play against him when he was in Sheffield, he was such a tough competitor that we often exchange words, but that's sport, that's sport. I'm a competitor. I hate losing, I only like winning, and sometimes I'll do everything it takes for my team to be able to win. A lot of people not necessarily don't like, it's not that they don't like that, but I'll try and look for every sort of inch that will give our team the advantage in any game, and perhaps that means getting under other people's skins and saying things on the ice that people don't like, but I only have the utmost respect for people that I've played against and with. I have absolutely no regrets in terms of my career, and I don't feel one way or another about what people think about me outside of hockey or my team, because we're all here for the same reason. That's to enjoy playing hockey and want to see your team succeed and win, and all I want is for my team to win. In that sense, I don't like the other teams. I make it quite open and honest to my teammates, but it's not the clubs I don't like, and it's not the people, it's just the fact that I want to win, and that's all it is. I have the utmost respect for everybody I've ever played against, and I actually thank them for being tough on me at times and competitive against me, because that's helped me become hopefully a better player, but that's also helped curb my enthusiasm and competitiveness as well. And it's sport. At the end of it, it's over. It was a sport, it was a game, it was a competition, and then all the talking can be left at the rink, and I hope that lots of people I've played against and with over the years I get to see again in the future, and hopefully speak to, but there's people that you get along with and not in your team, but I can only say I have the utmost respect for everyone I've ever played alongside, and I'm thankful for that opportunity.
Okay, so we've obviously been through a lot of the big moments in your career, and that brings us to last season. Obviously we all know 3 trophies. It's one of the best years we've seen here in a long time, I'm sure everyone would agree. So how do you reflect on it, and was there a part of you that thought the end of last year might have been the right time for you rather than going for one more? What was your thought process on that?
It's one of those. I know a lot of people who've retired, not just in ice hockey but in different sports, who've made that commitment at the end of a successful season because they wanted to end on that high. Obviously I thought a lot last season, and it was part of the thinking perhaps, but it was never, if I win this I'm going to retire, because I want that to be it. I want it to be the right time, for me, my family, putting everything into perspective, I guess. So I did a lot of thinking last season, and there were times when I thought, if I did retire this season, how amazing would that be, having been so successful. There were times last season before, I think after the first cup success, but before winning the other 2 trophies, that I thought it's probably going to be my last season, and to then go on and win those was incredible, and perhaps didn't spur me on, didn't give me extra motivation. I was already motivated and wanted to do it for alongside the guys we had in the room, because I think we deserved it. But there was a lot of thinking involved, and if I finished on a high, then excellent, but that wasn't the reason why any of this came about, and I'm hoping that we have another successful season, and obviously I do end on a high and not disappointment, but at the end of it I won't have no regrets. It wasn't based on success or not. There was a lot of other factors involved, and as I mentioned before, it's about my family and work and everything else outside. I can't keep giving away a lot of my time when other people not necessarily rely on me being around, but me being able to support in them doing their things. I don't want my commitments to hockey to hinder anybody else's in my family's success or opportunities. So it's their time.
So over 880 games, you said you don't score many goals, but over 730 points. It's not bad, is it? How do you reflect upon that whole, it's a big stat, it's a lot of games, it's a long career. So we've covered last season, now your career as a whole. How does it sort of sit with you now? You've got one last year.
Obviously, when you put it like that, it sounds a lot. If you look at those stats, I don't think as many of them are goals as assists. I've always been a better passer and playmaker, I guess, on my lines, and a player that will work for their teammates. And so I try and do as many things right as I can on the ice, to not just be productive, I guess, but be successful for our team. But when you look back on it like that, that's a lot. That's a lot of hockey. It's a lot of time, and I'm privileged. I'm honestly truly privileged that I've been able to have the success I've had, but the opportunities, the good teammates, the coaching to be able to develop me, and I walk away a better person. I walk away from hockey a better person, and I've learnt many qualities that I can take into my life beyond hockey. So I look back on that and just, I'm incredibly proud, but I'm incredibly proud for my family and the people close to me as well, because they've allowed me to do that, and that doesn't happen for everybody, unfortunately. So I'm pleased that I've been able to have that opportunity, and in doing so, I hope that other people can take inspiration from being able to do that in Peterborough, being able to do that at their local ice rinks, and with their family members and everything else involved. I'm truly privileged and proud and pleased and happy that now is the right time.
Okay, so you say it's the right time. So you've got one last year. Obviously, the fans, I'm sure, will be disappointed, but they'll also want to celebrate your career in this last season that you've got with us. So have you got a message for the fans just for this last year?
Of course. The biggest thing I can say is thank you. It's thank you for the support. Thank you for everything everybody does for the clubs, and that's people that work for the team, the volunteer that come to watch the hockey, that's supported not just this season, not just last season, but all over the years. Anyone that's given anything positive or contribution-wise, or anything towards the team and the club, we truly value. I truly value. So just a massive thank you to anybody that's ever sponsored me, supported me, spoke to me. I'm not the most outspoken person sometimes, and the loudest around the rink, but I truly value the support and people being around. It makes that family atmosphere, and it makes it comforting to everybody involved, and as well as me. So it's just a massive thank you to everybody that's ever done anything for me, and maybe I've never recognised or even realised, but it goes. It doesn't go unforgotten. So a massive thank you to everybody. And you touched on it there. People might be disappointed, but please don't be. Please don't be. Please be happy and proud. But more importantly, and what's bigger than me in this situation and my moment is continue to support the team to drive for their ambitions and their aims to move the club forward. That's what, at the end of the day, when I leave, that's what I want to see happen for this great team, this great club with the great people. So don't be disappointed, continue cheering and shouting and being positive, and put everything into the team, because it will be here long past when I'm gone, and I'll always be around, and I'll come and watch. And my kids are involved now, and they love coming down, so I'll still be here. So it's not about me in that situation, the same as I didn't want to retire at a point last season when we were in the mix of big games, because it wasn't about me and my moment and my situation. It's about the team, and I'm making the decision now and broadcasting that now so that we can move forward as a team. And it's because it's not about this situation, it's about everybody as a whole, and the team being successful, and the club being successful off the ice too. So thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the season.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. So good luck for the season, and then in retirement beyond that. Thank you very much.